Hello everyone. Real quick, if you want to skip the intro and go right into the interview, you can skip to this time code that you can see on your screen right now. If you're staying for the intro, then hello. I appreciate you for staying. I am so incredibly excited to show you this interview with Ryan Payton. Yes, that Ryan Payton. The studio director of Camouflage and director of Batman Arkham Shadow, the VR Game of the Year of 2024. I've been working on setting up this interview for a few months now, and Ryan and I were finally able to coordinate a time that fit into both of our schedules. For those who may be a bit newer to this channel, my interactions with Ryan started a few months ago before Arkham Shadow released after he and his team tweeted out one of my videos, which to this day is still the most popular video on this channel. After this, Ryan and I messaged back and forth every now and then, discussing the possibility of doing a video together. However, because Ryan was busy with something, I don't know, totally not shipping one of the biggest VR games ever made or anything like that, we had to put it on hold for a little while. However, we finally managed to find a time to get together and chat. But because I didn't want to do a boring sit-down Zoom interview, I wanted to try to make it a little more interesting. So, I asked Ryan if he wanted to play mini golf while I interviewed him. I also wanted to test some of his Arkham knowledge by asking him some trivia questions throughout the video. So feel free to play along at home and let me know how many questions you get right. And now, here we are. Several months in the making, with the opportunity to make one of the coolest, if not the coolest, video I have ever made. Another huge thank you to Ryan and his team for coordinating this interview as well as supporting my content over the last few months. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview with the director of Arkham Shadow, Ryan Payton. Also, just a bit of a heads up, there are some spoilers throughout this video. You have been warned.
Awesome. So once again, thank you so much for being willing to do this with me. This is one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Yeah, well, I've never done a interview plus playing a VR game at the same time, nonetheless doing a putt-putt golf style. So yeah, I'm definitely into it.
Yeah, I thought it could be kind of a fun way to do it because, you know, like I said when I first reached out to you, you know, you've done 1,000,001 sit-down interviews and Zoom interviews, and those can get kind of bland after a while. So I was like, how about we play a game, play some golf?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So pretty much the way I was thinking we'd go about this is I'd ask you a question or two, we'd play a hole. I ask you a question or two, we play a hole, and we just kind of make our way through it.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So the first question that I've got for you, we're starting off kind of broad, but as far as game development as a whole goes, do you have a specifically favorite part of the process from anywhere from beginning to end?
Oh, absolutely, I do. And it's the process we just wrapped up with on Batman Arkham Shadow, which is wrapping up the game. I love finishing games. The intensity of it, just being able to play the game from start to finish, and then give a bunch of feedback, and just be, working with the team and trying to inspire the team, and just try to make it the best thing possible. And it's all tangible. It's like right there in front of you. I love that. It's the exact opposite of like what I don't like, which is I don't like where we are entering into very soon within Camouflage, which is figuring out the blue sky, high level, on paper version of whatever we make next. That used to be really exciting to me, and now it's amongst my least favorite of development. So yeah, I love closing out games.
All right, well, we'll see if I can get this in not 100 strokes, because I'll be honest, I'm not the best golfer in the world.
Neither am I. So this is gonna be a good competition then, probably.
Yeah. All right, there's a start. So I think, yeah, all right, you're up.
So up here, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to just play more of this game with my colleagues. As kind of like a cool way to chill and chat.
Yeah.
And talk about work and all that. And then we got really busy. Trying to ship the game, so it's been a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't imagine what you'd be busy with.
I know, right? 2024 was a very, very busy year for us, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
No time for messing around. In fact, Matt Walker, my colleague, was. Oh man, I hope that didn't count. Yep.
No, I think it. Oh, that's so sad.
Matt Walker, my colleague, was commenting on how I was in the office a few weeks ago, and we were just talking about something random, and I was participating in that random conversation. And he's like, "Oh, it's so nice that to have like Ryan Payton not in like full on work. We have to go. Stop talking. Like, let's just go execute mode." Yeah. So it's that's one thing that's been fun about doing this. It's just like we kind of chill a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Turning to the recent award that you guys just won, VR Game of the Year. Congratulations once again, by the way.
Thank you.
Very well deserved.
Thank you.
I noticed, I saw on X that you, at least I think it was on X, you had a video from, I'm guessing, some kind of meta glasses of a first-person
Yes.
view of accepting your award. So what went into deciding to do that? Because that was really fun to
Oh,
watch.
that's fun. So yeah, I have the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. I got them recently. Yeah, it was everything in 2024. Too busy to check out anything, and I was curious about them. I wanted to learn more about the wearables, and I'm so excited what Meta's doing with them and seeing the strong response they've got to the product. So I want to try them out for myself. I ordered a pair. And I've been using it on and off, throughout the last month or two, and really enjoying it. I love it. I love using when I'm running, taking photos of my family, video. It's awesome. And one of my colleagues, David Gordon on the comm side, noticed that I was wearing them around, and he said, "You should wear them when if you guys win the award, you should wear them when you go up and accept the trophy." And he said, actually, a hockey player did that recently, and it went kind of viral. And it was really fun. And I thought, wow, I'm interested in it, but I don't want to look like I'm like a corporate, like this like corporate guy who just like has like Meta t-shirts and Meta socks, and I'm wearing Meta glasses. He's like, yeah, maybe people will say that. And I said, you know what? I kind of don't care. Let's just do it. If people like want to make fun of me, go for it. And I did it, and nobody made fun of me. They actually thought it was pretty cool to see what it's like to be in that first-person perspective when you accept a really amazing award like that. So I'm glad I did it. And I was glad I was able to show people what it looks like from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, talk about good advertising, right? All right, hold to. So we got a few more obstacles in our way here this time. Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
That checks out.
I've been because I'm so obsessed with those Ray-Ban Metas, I've been thinking about wanting to be in VR with them on, which I know doesn't make any sense, but you get used to using them, and then you start thinking, oh, I want to ask AI to do this, or I want to take a picture, because you get used to wearing them, and when I'm not wearing them, it's like I feel like it's like this weird extension of me is like left behind.
Yeah. There you go. You're probably going to beat me on this one, but that's all right.
We'll see. I've only got a slight advantage here. Okay, I should concentrate and stop thinking about technology and focus on putting the ball in the hole. There we go.
Wonderful. Everyone is constantly talking about how intuitive and just insanely awesome Arkham Shadow's combat system is. So at what moment during the development of the game did you have that moment where you were finally like, this is Arkham Combat in VR? Because everyone knows the super famous, Batman punches across the room story. But what was what was the day in the office like where you or someone tested it out and you were finally like, that's it, that's the combat?
It's not too much of a surprising or thrilling story, I find, because we expected it to be one of the most difficult things that we were going to have to develop, is trying to figure out how you could translate the classic free flow Arkham Combat into VR, into Arkham Shadow. And so we made it one of the top 3 prototypes that we worked on, in addition to doing a prototype with just pure locomotion. What's it like to run around, slide, cape glide as Batman, grapple? And we did that, and we knew we could execute on that because we were so successful in executing on really fluid, fast motions as Iron Man in our previous game with Iron Man VR. So with Batman, we knew we could do the locomotion. Combat was more of a question. But then when Ryan Darcy, Troy Johnson, and the other team members just got to work on the combat prototype, it kind of worked exactly like Ryan Darcy imagined it in his head. And we played it. We're like, yep, that's it. And when we gave it to at the time we weren't part of Meta, so we gave it to over to the producers like Mike Dorn and the other folks there to play. And they were like, yep, there it is. And then it goes to Warner Brothers and DC, and then they play like, yep, that's it. Okay, you guys can clearly do this. Let's go. Let's officially sign the project. And then we were just off to the races. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we ended up. That's not usually how game development works, really. But I feel like, yeah, it was just a great demonstration of what a team can do when they have lots of experience in VR, and be able to lean on that experience, and then just kind of call their shot. The way that Ryan Darcy describes it is like it was like his Babe Ruth shot. He was like, "This is how combat in Arkham VR in an Arkham VR game is going to work. I'm going to call this shot. Here we go," and then boom, just hit it. And that's pretty rare in video games.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Wow, that's wonderful. All right, well, you're up on this whole.
I think this is me, right?
Yes, sir.
This is me. Okay, so we're gonna need a little bit of power here. Um, Maybe a little bit too much power,
Ooh.
but I know I'm breaking protocol here because, but I'd be curious. Like, quick question for you. Like, I
Yeah.
watched your most recent video where you're talking about your channel and your goal for next year, I guess for this year, for 2025,
Mm-hmm.
1,000 subscribers, and uploading lots more videos,
Yeah.
and doing lots of different kind of content. I'm curious, like, from your perspective, is like, do you have any ideas about like what kind of games you want to explore next year, or are you just going to kind of let it to see what is getting popular, see what you're interested in?
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing what's popular at a given time. Like, I just did a community post today where I was talking with, where I asked, there's this new game that just came out. It's called like Clone Drome in the Hyperdome or something. And it's supposed to be like
Okay.
the best physics-based combat in VR right now. And so
Oh.
I just did a community post. I'm like, hey, do you guys want to see a video of this in a couple weeks? Because I've told them that there's something coming up, but they don't know what, and that's what this is. So far, I've had 2 people vote on it and say, yes, I want to see this. So chances are that'll be the next thing. And then whether I do 1 or 2 or 3 videos on that, then once that's over, it's like, all right, we'll figure out what comes next.
Cool. That sounds good.
Next question. This one's actually a trivia question for you. I want to test your Arkham trivia. So this one technically, from my understanding, could have 2 answers, and this might be the kind of thing where down in the comments someone might be like, actually, that's wrong. But,
Yes.
but to my understanding, this is correct. There's 2 possible answers. There is a character that is present in the 4 main flat screen games, but is only seen in person by Batman twice. In 2 of them. What character is that?
Oh man. I was gonna say maybe Riddler.
That's correct. It was either the Riddler or Barbara Gordon.
Oh yeah, that's another. Yeah, you're right. There's
Yeah.
2 answers to that question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good
Yeah,
deal.
because you see the Riddler in Arkham City and Arkham Knight, and you see Barbara in Arkham Knight and Arkham Origins.
Well, yeah, I was actually thinking about Penguin, because I know that he wasn't in Asylum, but yeah, he's in other titles. But
No.
yeah, no, I'm glad I got that one. So
There you
guys,
go.
I'm not I am legit Arkham. I've become an Arkham expert over the last 4 years. I can say
There you
that.
go. There you go. All right, this
There
one
we
could
go.
be tricky.
Now, whether I'm an expert on walkabout mini golf is another whole other question. I'm gonna try something wild. I'm just gonna hit this really hard and see where the ball
Oh
lands.
man. All right. Oh.
Because yeah, that's.
Well, I'm not gonna go that route. I'm gonna try to go. The
Don't
safe
do
route
that. I
here.
highly recommend.
I'm gonna go with a safer shot there.
I have some UX feedback for the very talented developers at Mighty Coconut. I did not see how wide that was over here from this perspective. Probably my fault, but but it's also me just being dumb. Like, I thought all 4 of these corners were this.
Oh yeah.
Narrow, which is why I thought, okay, I'm going to try to bounce it over there. But you could also say I'm just making excuses.
I'll go with your first answer.
Thank you. The thing that I find when I'm closing out a video game is I become so critical of every single thing, which is part of my job. But it extends to real life and other games. So I'm playing through Silent Hill 2 Remake right now.
Yeah.
And I'm taking screenshots of feedback I have for the team that has already finished that game over at Bloober, and it's a great game, and it's a little bit of it's a bit of a sickness I think I have. So I'm like giving feedback on UX for this map of this amazing game.
It just means you're passionate.
Look, I'm
There's
not
nothing
gonna
wrong
win
being
this one.
passionate.
Well, yeah, and I'm just my brain is still in that mode of shipping and giving feedback and stuff like that, and it'll go. I find it goes away over time.
You'll wake up one day and you'll just be like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it'll pass. Good job, by the way. That was nice.
Thank you. I think that means we're tied now. So next question. At one point in time, or I guess over the course of several weeks, you had multiple influencers come out to the studio and try out the game before you had your more public showcase or public demo that a lot of people did.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any points during their post demo interview that they did where maybe they really hit the nail on the head on something, like maybe they predicted something about the plot or how gameplay was going to work and they were right on the money, but you couldn't say anything because the game wasn't out yet?
Yeah, I think So we actually had two waves of folks come in to our Bellevue office. The first time was the time you're referring to, which is right before Gamescom. So it was in early August. We had a lot of influencers who couldn't go out to Germany visit us stateside in Bellevue and play through the game, play through the demo. And then we also had the Arkham focused influencers, and we had them come in maybe only a few weeks before launch, and we had them play the whole game from start to finish. And so those were two very unique experiences. But both times, yeah, you tend to get questions you can't answer, but you get so much valuable insight. I hope it's okay for me to share the story. I'm almost and I'm sure Don Hopper over at Upload VR would be fine with this, because he actually talks about this in his preview article. But the thing that sticks out for me the most was we had lots of different influencers from around the country and around the world come to our office in August. This is the first time anybody outside the development team is playing Arkham Shadow, and we're nervous about our approach to combat. Right? It's not physics based. It's not how most combat works in most kind of VR titles, right? And thankfully, everybody was clicking with it, with the exception of Don from Upload. And we wanted to really impress the guy from Upload VR, right? And so he's playing, and he's like, "Oh, I really want to just punch when I want to punch, and I don't want to wait, and I don't want it to be like this, and I don't want to be like this." And we sat down with him and Ryan Darcy, and we're kind of talking through like the design intent behind it, and how we're trying to make it more Arkham than we are trying to make it physics based, like Blade and Sorcery or Thrill of the Fight. And I think conceptually Don was understanding it as we kind of talked about it. But those types of questions got us kind of concerned that, well, if we've got 8 to 10 influencers here and one of them didn't really initially click with the combat, is that a hint of things to come, that maybe 10, 15, 20% of players may not click with the combat? And thankfully, that ended up not being the case. I think Don ended up really clicking with the combat. In fact, he was him and the crew with Ian and Henry over at Upload just gave Batman Arkham Shadow their VR game of the year, and so he's a big fan of the game, and it clicked for him. But we were so nervous coming out of that. I remember going out to dinner with the team afterwards and like, are we going to be okay? But yeah, that's just how those things go. And we learned a lot by watching him play and others, and we made adjustments based on how he played. So yeah. I don't know if I had completely answered your question.
No, that's good.
That was something that kind of comes to mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, as for this hole, let's see, it's my turn to go first again. We've got a little bit of a ramp here, so we're gonna go at an angle. Too much. That's all right.
That was pretty good, actually.
So it's just a little too hard on that one.
Got context switching is tough for me. I'm like in hardcore video game development talk, and then back to putt.
Trying to keep you on your toes.
I know. Oh, look at that. That worked better than I thought, but not great.
It didn't go out, so I guess you got that going for you.
I do.
Let's see if I can. I was on my high school golf team for a couple years, and I was very bad for every year that I played, and putting was my worst part of my game. But for some reason in VR, I do better.
Yeah, you're a total stud. Okay. I'm assuming that the putter will clip through this barrier they have here. Oop, a little bit too much to the right, but all good. All good.
Just off, just barely. So here's one that I think could be pretty interesting. So, making a new entry into the Arkham series is a big deal. As you know, players are very passionate about it. They know everything about the lore, all of this, but there's also so many theories out there. So when you started working on Arkham Shadow with your team, were there any player-made theories that you came across that maybe influenced some of your narrative decisions? Like maybe someone made a video where they're like, I think this happened after Arkham Origins, and you're like, I like that. I want to work with that.
Well, there was... I'll give you two examples. One that we end up not doing, and then one we ended up doing.
Okay.
And how spoilery do you want to get, by the way?
You can be as spoilery as you want. I'll give something at the beginning of the video about like, hey, we got spoilers here.
Okay. I could also kind of tiptoe around it, but like the first one was, I want to say there was a Reddit post from a year or two ago where people were hypothesizing what a new Arkham game could be. And what they thought would be funny is if everybody suspects Joker is the one behind the next game as well, because it's how all these other Arkham games tend to be, right? Including Origins, where it's like, yep, it's Joker, and it's all, a lot of the players think it's going to be Joker, and it's not. And then you go to the end credits, and all you have basically is like Joker with his feet up on a couch, like eating popcorn and just looking at a monitor, watching the whole events of the game and just laughing. And I kind of wanted to do that, and I pitched it to the team, and we started exploring it, and we actually kind of ran out of time. And that was one of the reasons why we didn't explore it. But I kind of wanted to just like hold Joker until post credits and just show the players, no, he actually had nothing to do with the events of Arkham Shadow, which is kind of what we did, but we took a different approach.
Okay.
And then the thing that we did do was, I think it was Clown Puncher's video, in which he was pretty confident that the identity of the Rat King was anarchy, and he had some really good theories about why it would be anarchy. And so I immediately go to the team and like, okay, guys, we've got to plant those anarchy symbols, and we're going to put in the manila envelope for Harvey Dent, where you're in the task force office, we're going to put photos of anarchy and like a dossier of that at him, and we're just going to start like, fueling that fire, because we really wanted to have lots of misdirects. We wanted the players to be on their toes and not know who the Rat King is. So that was something that came in very late, and that was all thanks to Jared over there.
Wow. Yeah, I was actually, before release, I was on the boat of thinking it was anarchy. I talked about that in a couple of my videos, and in my, I think, first episode of my actual playthrough, I even took a few moments and I saw like the kind of anarchy A on Rat on one of the jackets, and on the A on the wall. I would stop and I would like point at it, and I'd be like, oh, I think I know, and then I was obviously very wrong.
Yeah, no, in fact, I think you did that in one of your argument. I think it might have been your biggest video. It was it was one of your reaction videos to, I think, the gameplay trailer or something related to gameplay. And I remember you pointing that out. I was like, ha ha ha, yep.
We got him.
Yep.
So we got a weird little zigzag going on here. I was behind in mathematics in school, so geometry's not my strong suit, but I'll full send it. Would you look at that? See?
Okay.
There's a reason I took informal geometry and not regular geometry.
Informal geometry.
Yeah, we just like wore sweatpants every day or something.
Yeah, right. Sounds pretty fun. This is a tough one.
Yeah. Because I feel like you have to go at a weird angle for it.
I think that's what I'm going to do here. Yeah.
Same thing I did. Same thing I did.
Yeah, except I think I'm in an even worse position.
I mean, I can maybe make. I mean, I'm not in line with the hole by any means. I can just kind of put it out there.
Oh, there, man. See, look, you didn't. Now I know why you suggested playing Walkabout Mini Golf, Mr. I was on the high school golf team.
I was the worst member of our high school golf team, actually. I think I played two varsity matches because we had no other varsity players at the time, and on one hole, I got to the green in like 2 shots, and then I 12 putt the hole, and I literally quit the team the next day.
Yeah,
and I think I've played golf once since then, and that was just with some friends of mine in college. I mean, I don't know, if you hit that super hard over there, you might get a little loop around. Look at that, dialed. If I can sink this, you'll get a redemption shot. There we go.
All right.
Phew. If I missed that, I would have maybe just ended the video right there.
There we go.
Oh, look at that. That was impressive. And you're the one out here saying you're trying to say I'm so good at this game when you sink shots like that. All right. Next trivia question for you. This one's I had to rewrite it a couple times because it's a little complicated. I think this one's the easiest way to understand it. So, in Arkham Asylum, which ideally is the one you know the best, there is a gadget that has a different quick-fire button combo than in any other Arkham game. So it's a 2-part question. Part 1, what is the gadget? And Part 2, what is the different quick-fire combo?
I don't know what this one is off the top of my head. I'll make a guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess it's. Well, I don't even remember. Maybe I'm just gonna say the gel, the explosive gel launcher. Just kicks,
That
but I
is-
don't even know.
Yeah, that is technically incorrect because if I remember correctly, in Arkham Asylum, it does not have a quickfire prompt.
You can't have a
there's
quick fire.
only-
Yeah.
So it's actually the Bat Claw, because in Arkham Asylum, you double tap the right trigger to use it, but in every other game, it's LT plus Y or L2 plus triangle.
Oh. Yeah, and here's the reason why I totally failed at that question is that I as an Arkham player, when I was a casual Arkham player before I knew I was going to be working on the franchise, just playing as a fan, I didn't use a lot of the quickfire because I found them to be semi like obtuse. Like it's these funny button combinations, and it's not part of the core combat suite. Like I come from a background like with Metal Gear, which has so many elements you can put into the combat. You could put it's overwhelming. Like and fans love that. They're like, oh, I could be like smoking a cigarette while I do this, and like I use this, and like there's these interesting combinations that can take place. And so it's you have like this. You get almost overwhelmed by choice. Then moving from there to really becoming a student of Halo, which is Halo. What I heard from people that worked on the games previous to the one I worked on was like they would sometimes describe like the combat as like a cheeseburger, not as like a formal dish with lots of different sides. It's a cheeseburger. It's got bun, meat, cheese. That's it. You got your grenades, you got your guns, you got your melee, and it's just those. It's a golden triangle, basically, is what they would describe it.
Fair enough.
And so they were always careful about adding anything more to it. So when I remember playing Arkham, I was like, yeah, this does feel like there's elements. It's like this trapezoid, basically. And I'm just usually a type of player that I want to go deep with like a lot of simple mechanics. And that's the approach that we took with Batman Arkham Shadow, actually, was that we didn't want to overwhelm the player with lots of gadgets. We didn't want to overwhelm the player with lots of villains and characters. We wanted to go deep, so have a smaller, shorter cast of characters and go deep with them, and then with the combat as well. So that's my cop-out reason for like why I didn't know that, because I kind of didn't care. I kind of didn't care. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I had to ask one that was, really difficult and really complicated. I feel like that was a requirement of coming up with trivia questions.
Please, no, I like that's a good question though.
But yeah, when some annoying YouTuber tells you, actually, you can interrupt a shield attack with a cape stun, you have people you can pass that off to.
That's a good segue into like one thing I wanted to bring to this conversation was that I love that. Like, I might not know the answer, or I might not even know that there's a problem that you are bringing up or others are bringing up, but just being able to interact with you guys in the community, and be able to funnel that feedback back to the team, and then follow up with folks like you and say, hey, that was a great piece of feedback. We missed it, or we thought it was a good idea, so we added it, and now it's back in the game. Now it's in the game, and thank you for that. That has been, in 2024, the biggest surprise I had was how much I loved interacting with the community.
Yeah. I after one of the updates, I tried it out in one of the combat challenges, and I was like, "Oh, it's in the game now! Awesome!"
Yeah, all thanks to you. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
and thanks to everybody else who's watching this video. If you were on the Batman Arkham Videos Discord in particular, and you jump in there and you've got feedback and you got a good point, and or you hit a bug and we're really sorry you hit it, and then we would follow up with you and ask you for a video or repro steps. Yeah, a lot of the updates that we've been doing are in direct relation to the feedback and response we've got from players.
So for this one, I was really curious, what led to the decision of, when doing a silent takedown, how you kind of choke out the person? What led to that decision? Did it start off maybe as like a button prompt and that just felt too boring and you were like, this has to be more physical, or like what went into that?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never been asked that question before. We typically avoid, hey, in order to do this thing, it's a button press, unless we have to. And if it's like for ease of use, or it's fatiguing, or feels just unnatural to do the actual natural motion, then we will revert to a button press. But as much as possible, we try to let the player embody what Batman would do, or any character that we're working with, whether it's Batman or Iron Man, previous, right? In the case of the silent takedown, that gesture that we did was there was lots of different iterations on that and permutations over the last three years that we're working on it. But what did change quite late in development was it used to require a lot more of these tugs, and we kind of got used to it. And so but when you're just playtesting the game, you're doing this. You could see a little bit. You can't see my arms, unfortunately. Oh, my whole body in this game, unfortunately. But I think you could probably tell what I'm doing, which is like tug, 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 tug. Like we would require 5 of them,
Oh, wow.
5 motions, and it looked pretty silly. And so we lowered them down, the number down, and then we also changed it based on some feedback we got from Gamertag VR, who was saying like, hey, I want to have some more like I want to be more dynamic in terms of like what arm I'm using, and based on some of my background with some of like the training he's done. So yeah, that was that's I think a good example of like how we iterated on pretty much every mechanic, and yes, a lot of the mechanics change based on feedback we're getting from players.
Well, this hole is certainly something else. I mean, it's like you've got the Great Pyramids over here, so good luck with that.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I feel like my first instinct is just go really tough, like really hard on this thing, and then have it ricochet over there on that barrier, and just like hope it goes well. But then on the flip side, I don't know if that's maybe I should just go a little medium strength.
Yeah, well, what I would maybe think is maybe you try to actually go at this kind of angle here and try to use this to stop your momentum and
let's
around.
let's do that. I'm gonna follow your advice. Bands.
Oh,
that was gonna be good too. That was gonna be good.
Man, so you gotta hit that thing real soft. All right. Okay. Well, I'll try the same thing, but I can't guarantee I'll make it. I might just end up right where you are. No, yeah, right.
Yeah, you're gonna end up right where I was.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, literally right where you are.
Isn't that fascinating? Like exactly the same spot.
Yeah. And now it's a little more guided. Okay. Let's hope I can try to emulate that. Oh, that may have been a little too much.
Ooh, nice.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, it's not bad though. We're both within striking distance here.
All right, look at that. Okay, all right. No pressure.
No pressure.
Oh.
Ooh.
No. Okay, so we've probably got enough time for one more trivia and then one more regular question.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
All right, which trivia question? Okay, another Arkham Asylum-based question. Now, based on how you answered the previous question, I don't think it's necessarily narrative-based, so this one might also be kind of hard. But to my understanding, there are 3 different characters that Clayface can turn into in his cell in Arkham Asylum. Who are the 3 characters?
Ooh, I could think of 2.
Yeah, I immediately thought of 2 and couldn't get the third. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you've got Gordon.
Yep.
You got Quincy Sharp.
Yep.
And I'm going to say Aaron Cash.
Right on the money. There you go.
Whew. Okay, I was getting nervous there. My credibility was like definitely on the line.
I had to double check the Aaron Cash one because I was like, it may have been him, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I played Asylum. I probably played it through maybe in March of this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steam Deck was so helpful throughout development for me.
Yeah.
Because when I'm traveling, I'm just playing through the Arkham games and not playing anything else. I'm just cycling through the Arkham games, taking screenshots, taking notes. Ooh, okay, we're back. Hey, we follow like a lot of the same patterns.
Yeah. Great minds think alike, they say.
Right. And the poor team, they like when I get off a flight. Dang, I do the exact same thing. I get out of a flight. I've got 50 screenshots saved of Arkham Asylum or City or Night or Origins. And I'm like, hey, we got to add this thing, or I like this asset here. Can we get this into Arkham Shadow? And or this mechanic, or this lore, this word, or there's a character. In the post game of Arkham Knight, if you're just wandering around Gotham City, dang it, man! I don't know if I think we're going to be here for a few hours.
We might be.
There's a character that some of the Gotham City goons are referencing, and I think he's only called out once by name, and he doesn't appear in the game. It's just this guy by this name. and I take a screenshot of that subtitle. I'm like, we gotta come up with a backstory for this guy, and we end up doing it. I mean, that's the kind of the stuff that that I would be doing, and whenever I'm playing through the Arkham games, just trying to find as much we can to infuse Shadow with as much authenticity as possible.
Yeah.
Man, even at I tried to go a little bit softer there, and I'm going right in the same spot.
Man,
you got this one for sure.
I better.
Put me out of my misery.
Oh. All right. We'll just forget that hole ever happened. My goodness.
Yeah, well, for me, yeah. It feels like your varsity golf.
I know, right?
So I think this might have to do it here, DaWowDude. So maybe this is the last hole.
Yeah.
And I think we're tied, aren't we?
We might be. Yeah, we're tied. Wow. So the pressure's on. Well, then we'll ask the last question. You won't get the fourth trivia question, which would have been a total guess, because it would have been a total guess for me too. But I liked this question. So, everyone knows Batman has an insanely awesome fighting style. He's known for, his martial arts and all that. So how do you go about animating Batman combat in a first-person perspective to the point that you can almost make an average player feel like they also know martial arts? Like, did you consult certain people who say, oh, it's a good idea to hit in this kind of pattern? Do you look at the other games and say, oh, well, he does this kind of move, so how do we do that in first person? Like, what goes into that?
Well, we didn't bring in a martial artist expert to help us for Batman in particular, although we did hire stunt actors with martial arts backgrounds to help us with the enemies that you're fighting and making sure that their movements were accurate and looked great. And they did a great job. And our whole animation team did a fantastic job with that. For the player, it was really actually just about, looking to the medium, looking at the other Arkham titles, looking at the films. And then, again, with like Ryan Darcy, Troy, and the whole team, just playing the game every day. And it's less about choreographing what Batman should do. It's really about letting the player be embodying the character. And it's actually why I think people would be surprised to the extent of how inelegant the game would look from a third-person perspective. I've gotten some of those questions like, hey, can you create a third-person version of the game or a third-person view so I can see myself as Batman doing these cool moves? And the truth of the matter is, well, first of all, you're gonna be surprised. Batman, his body isn't animating very much. He doesn't have a head. He doesn't have a cape. It reminds me of Halo when you're maneuvering Master Chief, when you don't have Forge mode on or you're not in multiplayer. It's very minimal kind of player avatar. And then because it's first person and you're not seeing most of what your body's doing, a lot of it's in your head. So oftentimes our jobs as developers is to make it so we're helping the player imagine what they're doing, that they are Batman, that they're doing these cool moves, and in their minds it looks really epic. But in reality, there's actually not a lot of animation that's going into it.
Okay, wow. Because I remember thinking, while playing the game, I was like, man, I wonder how they decided to do these kinds of combos, and yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah,
we got a multi-tiered kind of hole going on here. Let's see if we can just kind of send it down there.
Okay.
Oh, that was way too hard.
Yeah, and you did
right.
Send it.
Jeez, okay. And then I guess just a little bonus question as we're playing out the hole. I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and so I gotta ask, what was it like working with Elijah Wood? That had to be cool.
Oh, very cool. It went exactly as I expected it to be, because I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I've watched all the different documentaries. I actually had the privilege and honor to be able to kind of bump into him or strike up a conversation with him many years ago at a concert venue in LA, ahead of when the Smashing Pumpkins came on stage. And I saw him over there. I'm like, that's Elijah Wood. And I'm not the type of guy that's going to walk up to somebody and try to get a selfie or something like that. But I knew that he was big into games. And so I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe he'd be interested in talking to me because, I work in games and I know he's interested in that. And I think that was before he got involved in game development with his brother, and they did the VR title with Ubisoft called Transference, which I really, really enjoyed. And so anyway, I struck up a conversation with him. He was very, very nice and super cool. And we chatted for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and that was it. But that gave me an indication that, you're talking about Elijah Wood. Everybody knows what he looks like. and everybody wants to talk to him. And for him to be as nice and pleasant to me as he was, despite the fact that he probably just wanted to go to a show and enjoy it and not have to be bothered by somebody, told me everything I need to know about what it would look like working with him in a professional capacity.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when he got to the stage and got him into his mocap suit, he was just an absolute honor and pleasure to work with. Just so easygoing, but very interested, very professional. Just amazing to work with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll tell you, because we have another minute or two.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick behind the scenes is that we look like marketing geniuses holding the announcement that Elijah Wood was going to be Jonathan Crane Scarecrow in our game right up until the day before the game came out. And it got a huge amount of coverage.
Oh yeah.
And it brought up a lot of buzz, a lot of attention to the game just as it's about to come out. And it felt like we were just hitting so much great momentum because of that. That was not by design. We for a lot of reasons that are probably outside of the scope of this conversation, but that was going to be it, buddy. That was going to be the killing blow. We weren't able to announce at earlier, which we wanted to, and so there's a certain point where I'm like, hey guys, if we don't announce this like on Monday, we can't announce, like, if the game's out and everybody knows that Elijah Wood's playing a Scarecrow. So we put together that very simple video with him along on the Batman Arkham Videos channel. That came in the last week before the game shipped, basically.
Yeah, because you really needed the extra stress, right?
Yeah, it was when you're shipping. And speaking of extra stress, no idea that we were going to ship a day early too. Did you end up playing the game a day early?
I did, yes. So I was actually at work, and I had a family member of mine.
This is it. Here's your victory.
Oh man!
Congratulations.
Thank you. I practiced for many hours.
I could tell.
But I was actually at work when people started messaging me saying like, "Oh, the game's out." I started to see it in Discord. So I had bought the game, and I texted a family member of mine, and I had them come to where I live and come into my room, and I texted them step-by-step instructions, like put the headset on like this, you're gonna see this kind of a menu, and since I just bought the game, like the big screen in front of you at the top left, it should say Batman Arkham Shadow. You don't even need a controller, I just need you to touch it with your hand to start installing it. And so I walk them through all the steps, and then they're like, okay, it's installing, and I see it on my phone, it says it's installing, and I was like, okay. So I rush home after work, and I immediately run into my room, set up all my recording stuff, and I ended up going to bed really late that night because I recorded the first part and started transferring all the files and all that. So yes, I did end up playing a day early, and I lost some sleep, but it was totally worth it.
I definitely lost some sleep that night, for sure.
for a very different reason.
Because you've heard the story about when I found out the game was shipping early, right?
I think you vaguely mentioned it on what was it? Kind of Funny. I think you talked about that.
I'm flying from Japan to San Francisco to be on Kind of Funny for launch morning. So we're gonna do a countdown. 10 a.m. Tuesday, October 22nd. Game's gonna come out. I've got Ryan Darcy flying in to San Francisco. I got Aaron Whiting flying in, and we're gonna converge. The night before, we're going to go out to dinner, and then the next morning, we're going to go to Kind of Funny and then launch this game. So I'm exhausted because it's the last, final stretch of the game development, and I sleep on the flight for 6 or 7 hours. I wake up, I load up my laptop, get on the in-flight Wi-Fi, and my Discord's going crazy, and people are messaging me, and they're like, "Ryan, I think the game is out. I think the game is out. I think the game is out." And I'm like, no, that can't be that. And somebody sends me a message of like the main menu with matches in it. And I think, oh, yeah, they have access. This can't be real. This is actually a stress stream. So I started to feel like the chair I'm on in the flight, and like the retractable table. I start to feel that. I'm like, does this feel like real life, or is this like a dream? This must be a dream. No, it felt pretty real, and I'm like, no, this is actually happening, unfortunately. And we made the decision to just open the floodgates within that first 45 minutes of like debating, what do we do? You can't kind of put the genie back in the bottle. So we thought, you know what? It's just out there. Let's go. And we expected to be up all night troubleshooting and end up. Yeah, I was up till 3 in the morning with Aaron and Ryan Darcy in my hotel room. We ordered Uber Eats, and we just like kind of went in full war room mode. But thankfully, there was nothing to kind of war room. Everybody seemed to be having a good time with the game. We were watching people stream the game. Reviews started to come in. We got a great review from Upload, and we kind of all at about 3 a.m. we decided to call it. We're like, hey, this is actually going pretty well. Let's like get some rest.
Oops,
and
I didn't mean to tell
yeah,
you
the rest
over
is,
here.
and then and then the rest is history. So we were able to launch the game a day early, and now we can look back and laugh at that.
Yeah.
But those kind of moments that was very scary and very stressful, but ended up working out okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got to go do your stuff. But once again, thank you so much for being willing to take the time and do this with me. I hope mini golf plus interview at the same time was a fun enough experience for you.
Oh, it was wonderful. I wish I could just do this for hours with you.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it for hours. And I mean, I've said it in so many videos and messages and whatnot, but I'll actually say it in person. Another huge thank you from myself for actually being so supportive of me and my content. And, I mean, I still remember the morning I woke up and I saw that you and your team actually tweeted out one of my videos, and people were commenting saying like, oh, I'm here from Camouflage, and oh, Ryan Payton tweeted out this game. And I'm like, what? Because that was within like 2 minutes of me waking up. I saw that because I just grabbed my phone and I had notifications from YouTube Studio. And I was like, wait a minute. And I open up X and I'm like, they actually tweeted out my video. And yeah, so just a huge thank you, because I mean, I may not be the biggest channel in the world, but I wouldn't have the momentum that I have right now if it weren't for you and your team and your wonderful game. So another huge thank you for that.
You're welcome. And, we love being part of the community. We love being able to interact like this. And I would have retweeted your video if I didn't think it was thoughtful and well done. Okay. It doesn't mean that like, even if somebody doesn't even like what we're building, that's okay, right? As long as like somebody's putting thought and being some degree of respectful, like, okay, yeah, get it out there, right? And like get people talking about the game. So you were very thoughtful with all the stuff you do. So wishing you a great 2025 with your channel. Hope you hit your subscriber goal. Anybody watching this, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, help DaWowDude get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I'm very personally invested in this goal all of a sudden. When I saw your video, I'm like, yeah, man, I want to help him get to that 1K. So
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. And if you ever want to play some more golf sometime, whether it's an interview or not, you know how to reach me. So.
I know where to find you. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much.
And there you have it. An interview with the one and only Ryan Payton. I had such a wonderful time playing some mini golf with him and simply cannot thank him enough for taking the time to answer a few questions of mine. He was such a down-to-earth guy and was an absolute pleasure to spend time with. And hey, if anyone else who was involved in Arkham Shadow wants to do an interview sometime, you know how to reach me. Also, how many trivia questions did you get right in this video? Let me know down in the comments below. With that, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.